7 o'clock on Thursday, January 9th. This is the regular council meeting for the city of Alburnett. And we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilor Trump.
Present.
Councilor Bosenberg.
Present.
Councilor Sukup.
Present.
Councilor West.
Present.
Councilor Myers.
Present.
Let the record reflect we do have a quorum to conduct business tonight. With that, Rebecca, any changes to the agenda?
No, everything was updated. Not on the agenda, no, in the packet. Things were updated from what was sent last week.
I would seek a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion by Sukup. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Myers. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, brings us to the sheriff's report, page 2 of your packet. So from December 12th through January 9th, there were 13 calls for service, and the hours were met. If you have any questions or concerns, get them over to Rebecca and we'll make sure Major Colston gets those. All right, that brings us to citizen comments. We have two types of comments within the city of Alburnett, those for agenda-related items and non-agenda-related items. We do ask that you state your name and address clearly for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes. If you are on the agenda, we'll recognize you then, so you don't have to speak now if you are on the agenda. So do I have any comments for agenda-related items? Hearing none. Non-agenda-related items? That moves us to the mayor's report. I have just a couple of things. First and foremost, Happy New Year. I know and I guess we're halfway through fiscal year, so two things we celebrate. We are moving into budget season, so just a quick reminder for council, we currently have a budget workshop scheduled for January 14th at 6 p.m. and then January 27th. If needed, that one will be at 6 p.m. as well. It is confirmed as the next date and time on this agenda, so we'll keep making sure you're aware of those. We do have some upcoming committee appointments that are going to be needed for our Board of Adjustments and Planning and Zoning committees. We have one member from each committee whose term is up at the end of this month. Probably should have had it on this agenda, but we'll make sure it gets on the next one. So we are validating the procedure for that. I know the procedure if we're appointing a new council member. I'm not sure if we have to follow the same procedure for committee members as far as posting it and all the things that go along with that. So if you do know anyone who might be interested in either planning and zoning or Board of Adjustments, have them contact Rebecca and we will figure it out from there. So you'll see that on next month's agenda. My last update is on nuisance. We currently have 2. I've got one that is pending a site review from me, so I hope to get out there by the end of the week and just verify that everything's been cleaned up. And then we have one that is currently in litigation. The hearing was rescheduled. It was originally scheduled for November 25th. It's been rescheduled to January 27th due to a procedural issue. So that is where we stand with nuisance, and that is the mayor's report. Move on to council comments. Anything from you, Councilor Trump?
No.
Councilor Bosenberg?
None at this time.
Councilor Sukup?
No.
Councilor West? Councilor Myers?
No.
Okay. Brings us to written reports. First and foremost is the fire department. I don't know where to look.
Go ahead. Both of us.
He's pointing over here, so it'll be me. I think you've probably got something in your packet from Ron Hoover,
We do.
and you've got something in your packet from TJ.
We do.
Perfect. That's wonderful. So, Ron Hoover is decided that he kind of wants to retire, but we didn't let him totally retire. He doesn't have that privilege. He still has to stay with us. And the department voted to have TJ in as our fire chief. And so if you guys approve that tonight, that'd be great, because we're ready to move forward and rock and roll with that. I think also in your report, you probably had something that Ron put together regarding the calls for the township and for the city. If you saw that, it's almost a tie. Did you notice that?
I did.
So, in a little bit of review here, we had like 41 calls in the city and 45 in the township. So it was pretty much a tie at that point. We actually had 35 medical and other calls in the city and 40 for medical and other that were in the township. So it was kind of a combination. We're out and about all the time. We do a lot of public relations and those kind of things. We get out and meet people, do those kind of things. That's kind of crucial to people knowing who we are, so they're not scared when we show up at your door type thing, you know.
It's
Other
helped your
things-
membership too.
Pardon me?
I said it's helped your membership too, as much.
Very much so. So one of the other things that I have been working on, I think that we have brought up in the last few council meetings, is the junior/cadet program. And I got information from Chris Mattis from the underwriter and what's expected. I had already written up a program of what I thought that we should be doing and how we would function. And it is almost exactly in line with what she gave us. So I think we'll be able to move forward and get our cadet program up and running, which will be great. Okay, so we have that going. Other things that we have is, I think you also saw who the people are that TJ has chosen to be the officers for the fire department. So we've got Assistant Chief will be John Leach. I am your EMS captain, and Mark Powell will be the fire captain. So, and we are responsible for the training and the paperwork on that other side, we'll put it that way. So we have those kind of things that are gonna take place. And I think TJ sent you messages here about what he would like to do and what have you. So I think the biggest thing that we're looking at probably is a couple of things like the fire extinguisher contract, concrete pad that needs to be leveled outside of the station, and the ability to order supplies and what our limits are and what we can and can't do, because we do have stuff that needs to be ordered and replaced here soon. So those are the factors.
Perfect.
Questions for me?
First and foremost, on top of, congratulate TJ for being, you have the most responses as well,
Yeah.
so.
I'm bored.
Well suited that you are now chief.
We kind of teased him about that.
Took me a minute to figure out what those bottom row numbers were. I do want to respond to the fire extinguishers. Thank you for keeping that top of mind. Rebecca's got her feet under a little more. I'll have her go after that for us, because we did already put it out for bid and didn't receive any responses, and so we'll make some phone calls and get that rolling. So we'll add that to her to-do list.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was at the fire station, had water chores over the weekend and was checking some things out, and I did notice the pad, so we can look at it. I don't know what it's gonna take to bring that back level, or,
I don't know if we're gonna be able to raise it or if we're gonna have to shave it down.
oh, the one right outside the door?
Yeah.
Oh, it's above the door?
So there's an independent pad right in front of the door, and then it looks like the concrete outside of that is what's settled, so now there's just the littlest lip of that pad going into the door, and I can easily see how
We've had people trip on it before,
Yeah.
so.
someone would catch on that, so. We could take a look. That will probably be a spring project, would be my guess. I don't like to mess with frozen concrete, so. And then for ordering supplies, so we do have the procurement procedure that we got in place, so amounts and those types of things, I think we're good. I know one thing Rebecca is working on is a more robust procedure, because I would like to get you all, whether it be an expense card or some way that you can just order yourselves and you don't have to go through us. But right now, all we have here in City Hall is Vicky's expense card, so the city clerks. So we are still working on that. And I noticed something about a Boundtree account. I think that was in your report,
Yep.
TJ. I think we have one.
So, that's mainly just getting procurement of day-to-day medical supplies, or as we need to replace them, that we don't get replaced on. So, it'd be one of those, John works for him, so, or for area, so he could, we do a contract with them, or Centerpoint Ambulance, or
Okay.
Boundtree, so then we can get, and then it gets billed, so it'd be a little easier than.
Nice. Yeah,
So
anything
look
that
at
can
that.
get invoiced, I'm all about. So
Okay.
it's just if you all needed the credit card, then
Yeah, for the
you
NRE
rely on
bill.
us to have to do it.
Are any of the vendors able to store the card information on their end, and then you could just,
Boundtree does, Boundtree does.
Boundtree.
Yeah, and I think we have a Boundtree account
Yes,
already.
yes,
so.
we do.
okay. I'll make sure with Vicky that they have the correct card information in case it was expired and got a new one or something.
Okay,
What was the name of that vendor again?
Boundtree.
Boundtree
Bound, B-O-U-N-D?
Yep.
Okay,
and tree,
got it,
2 words.
thank you.
Otherwise, sorry, she asked for questions. I don't have any questions. Council, any questions? TJ, anything to add?
Bathroom sick.
We did get I talked about hopefully getting the firehouse subs grant submitted. We were able to get that submitted today.
Good.
We were able to, they opened it earlier than we were expecting, so luckily we checked beforehand, so. that
Because you
got
said last
submitted.
time it was open for all of 20 minutes and it
Yeah.
maxed out? Yeah.
So we were able to get it submitted, and then in the bathroom, I don't know if you got like glue, like a tube of glue or anything like that, like adhesive glue, but the trim under the sink
Oh,
had all 3 sides, or both sides fell off. So it just looks like the adhesive
didn't hold.
dried off or didn't hold yet, so.
It's not even an exterior wall, but
No. So we just need to get that looked at.
Put it on the list.
Thank you, sir.
anything else for the fire department report?
And I was going to add too that we will be teaching the senior class in April. And it'll be a 2-day event this time because the class is very large. And we can't get them all in one day.
Nice. That is for their CPR requirement, is that
So
correct?
graduate, yep.
Very good.
Did you get the email that I sent about the QR code for the guest network?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I haven't entirely looked at it yet, but received.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, as always. That brings us to city administrator.
Over the last month, I have been reading a ton of code section, our ordinances, looking things up on the legislature website to see what's required of not just my position, but the other positions in the city. Mayor Sarrazin and I worked on research and testing some updated software that we'll talk about a little bit later under new business. It will be more efficient than the current camera system we have, and it will also allow us to capture the minutes in automation, kind of, so that will also save some time, and I'll go over those details. There's information later in the packet. We met with HR Green yesterday, on the park project, and that is coming up as well, under old business. I am working on digitizing our forms, creating them to be fillable and to submit them through the website, so that customers can e-sign, send them. They don't have to have a printer, because not many of us have an actual printer at home anymore. We do that at work. And I have been working on updates for the employee handbook. I've got Lynn County's employee handbook, I've got, I think Clinton and Marion's employee handbook, researching, how ours stacks up to theirs, and then what's required from the state for those. And then lastly, I worked, this week on an open records request policy. And making sure that our form and our process complies with what the state mandates. And I should have that ready for council approval next month.
Any questions for Rebecca? All right, thank you very much. That brings us to Public Works.
Don't have much to add. I noticed today when I was leaving town, they started doing the generator at well 3. They started assembling on the pad, so they're making progress there. I'm waiting on Hawkins to come out and take water samples, raw water samples to send to the DNR to help figure out what's going on well 2. They're supposed to come out next week, I think. So, other than that, nothing else said.
Any questions for Nick? It was a big report. Did you have any here? Yeah, you did about the booster pumps. So, is that third bullet point, Mac, on the booster pumps?
Oh.
Is that the fuses?
No, that's
No,
different.
that's the space heater, sorry. Oh, big second bullet point, that we're having some issues with the booster pumps, both of them. I'm sure they're probably about the same age. So while I think we've had some high-level discussions about moving off of the gas chlorine, in which case we wouldn't need booster pumps anymore, that's probably not gonna happen in the near future, because we have to get a construction permit. I've heard through other cities that it can take 9 months to get the DNR to approve those, and then actually get the work done. So you may see, we're gonna price that out, but you may see at least one of those being replaced, just to make sure we've got solid equipment, because Mac was out of town for a couple of days, as he should have the right to do, and had to show Dave and I how to reset those, just in case they blew. It's easy, but you have to be like immediately on it, and so, we'll see what they're gonna cost, but we may replace at least one of those, so that we know they're gonna be solid for us.
Yeah, the goal is, well 3 is in the best shape, better of the 2 shapes, but that is our best well since we just had it rehab, so I was gonna put a new pump in there and then have that one as a backup in case well 1's completely fails.
So, we'll keep y'all posted on that. But, no, we're not crazy. We do know we also are trying to get off of gas chlorine. Those timelines maybe just won't quite align. So, we'll try and do it as economically as possible. Alright, any questions for Mac? Perfect. Oh, sorry, I read page 2, I forgot to scroll to page 2. That was a big report. Brings us to city clerk treasury. Vicki didn't give me any additional talking points, so she did include, we've got our profit and loss statement, which we're doing just fine. Again, the only one that looks goofy is debt service, but that's just, I think, how the system functions. And then, she included it when we get to the part about the public hearing. She does have the schedule for the upcoming budget cycle, so we'll talk about that a little bit when we get down there. One thing we are looking at, I can't remember if she put it on here. She did not. Clerk Books is in the process of releasing a new release of their system. It's a little bit different, and it would actually make everything web-based, whereas right now it's all hosted on Vicki's computer. And so she's gonna have a price for us to look at making that move over to the new clerk books. Her and I need to look and make sure all the functionality that we need is currently present, because it's kind of it's not early release. We didn't get it on the beta. Beta was earlier this year, and well, would have been last year in like the January timeframe. So it's general release, but they haven't built in all the functionality yet. So we'll make sure that it's there before we really make the switch. But she showed me pricing, and it's pretty reasonable, and it actually eliminates the licensing that we need for a QuickBooks license for the back end. It will no longer require QuickBooks, so. And there's that update as well. Any questions on city clerk report? Alright, that brings us to the consent agenda, so you've got the minutes. There was an update to the claims today, so it was not in your packet at home. I actually did not update mine, so I'm gonna give you just a second to take a quick look at the claims and make sure everything's good. And once you've done that, when you're ready, I would seek a motion to approve the consent agenda. Seek a motion when you're ready.
I move to accept the,
Consent agenda.
yeah, that's the word.
Motion by Trump to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second? I got one from Bozenberg. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Brings us to new business. Item number A, encroachment permit for B&L Ag. This starts on page 17 of your packet. We'll work you guys, Ms. Stoll.
For those of you that were here last time, Bill and I, who own the B&L Ag Repair Tractor Shop, were seeking an encroachment permit application approval by you guys tonight. Basically, we have been using the front area to park and drive on our driveway, and we want to make sure that we can use that side access road. So we submitted that application for you.
Perfect. So you've got the application on page 17. Application is 17, 18, and 19, that's just part of the form. Page 20 is the site plan, so it shows the property, and the driveway piece is what would be on the city right-of-way. The encroachment application does require a certificate of insurance, where the city has been named as an additional insured. So you will see that on pages 21 and 22. And then page 23 is the encroachment ordinance for reference, so that you just know what all is involved in the encroachment request process. So, there are a couple of things that I did note that I would bring to council's attention. The certificate of insurance, the policy does expire on May 30th of '25. So if council moves forward with the application, I would recommend we align the expiration date. So they renew automatically for a year at a time, but I would align that with the insurance policy, just
Okay.
to help cover ourselves, because if for whatever reason that policy was not renewed, but we allow this permit from a year from today, we leave ourselves open to any liability. So that would be one thing I would want council to consider.
And currently, we are on a 6-month for the insurance, so it would be.
Any other questions? Comments?
It's only used to get in and out of the building.
So
No storage.
that would be my other recommendation, so, I do have the map up. It is a unique property in that I think this is the only street right-of-way that is undeveloped in town today. So as you can see, the driveway is, permission was given by Public Works at the time for temporary access during construction so that they could store materials and things over there. I would recommend that council put a stipulation on the permit that nothing is stored on that property, it is used for access only. And then similarly, I know we had a bit of an issue last year, extraordinary circumstances because of the snow that we received, but the city did utilize that space for snow. And I would say we would put a contingency that because we would have the certificate of liability, the snow could be moved, but it should not be removed from the property if the city were to place it there. Because I do know last year snow was moved, that we placed, it was moved off into the corner and did create a hazard because there was quite a pile of snow. Now again, that was extraordinary circumstances. That is the only time since I can remember that we've had to put snow on this property. There was just nowhere else to go with it until we could truck it out.
Isn't that room enough for you to put your own driveway in there and use it? Because
I think in the future, that's kind of, we're hoping that there might be other development beyond that, so it does create a street. I don't know for sure.
that's all floodplain back there.
Yeah.
Being development.
So we have we do have the, the driveway that goes to one of our doors, the overhead doors. And so I don't know if we would build, I don't know. I'm not quite sure about building that second kind of driveway. But I guess definitely that could be something that if that's kind of a suggestion, a future suggestion, we could put that on there, to kind of create our own driveway off of that. Will that street ever be developed, or, because like you said, it's the only one? I know it really doesn't go anywhere, but, is that
It's not on any kind of capital improvement plan. One thing I do know, because this was brought to council several years ago, we had talked about doing similar to, find my bearings here, First Street, where it's curbed and angled parking, because there's not a lot of parking on Main Street. But I just don't see that as a priority project at this time.
So if this were paved, we wouldn't need to go through all this as far as the encroachment then, because you'd have public access to that driveway then, correct?
But it may not necessarily allow access to their property if we were to curb it. If there were curb and sidewalk to allow parking on both sides. Otherwise there'd be a cutout.
Okay.
They wouldn't be guaranteed access to their property from
Okay.
that side street if we improved it. Are you intending any improvements or just the gravel driveway that's already there?
probably not for this year. We put in the concrete on the other driveway. So right now it'll probably just stay gravel. But I guess as kind of, as we kind of get a little bit more settled in, and get bills paid and things, potentially. That was the plan in the beginning, is to, put concrete down, in that front area, but we only put in about half of it, just because.
Sorry, I'm more specific to within the city right away. That wouldn't get improved beyond gravel.
I don't think so. I mean, that wouldn't be
Right,
something
that's,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, as far as that wouldn't be like we don't have the right to do that. So as of right now, it'll just be the gravel. I guess in the future, if you guys do a kind of a change of that, then that would kind of change of what we're gonna plan to do too. So it kind of depend on what you guys are gonna do with that area. For right now, though, I guess it would just stay the gravel. And at least for the next year, we don't plan on putting concrete on that side of the space, so.
One thing to keep in mind, the city's not really utilizing it for anything else at this time. We do reserve the right in the encroachment ordinance that if our use ever changes with 20 days written notice, we can revoke these permits. And then I do know B&L Ag was maintaining it all last summer. I saw it being mowed and things like
Yeah,
that. So
mowed
it does become a property then that we haven't maintained.
And I don't know if the neighbor has, I know he hires somebody so I don't know if he's ever done any maintaining on that area since we're fairly new to it. But yeah, I know last year he kept the grass down.
So a question I have is, if there's any type of maintenance needed to that area, that driveway there, does that fall on our shoulders? What I'm thinking about is, before it's paved, if they're bringing heavy machinery, we have another wet spring, getting ruts, etc. on that property, would they, if it needs to be refilled with gravel, who is liable for that?
Great question. I mean, the ordinance does call out that no person shall create, construct, use, or maintain an encroachment of private nature on city property. So I don't know if that's enough to throw the maintenance part in there.
So, as long as moving forward, just so it's cut and dry, if that happens, because if they end up with, machinery having ruts and stuff like that, and they want to do that independently because they are having access problems because of the condition of that driveway, it serves their business to be able to repair it, and it keeps it from being a city expense. That's
Or city problem if they abandon it without
exactly.
repairing it.
That sounds reasonable.
So what I'm seeing on here, Missy, is it does say that we could require as a condition prior to issuance that we enter into a contract. And I think because of the nature of this property, generally, we've done two other encroachments. One was on someone's property, we have a drainage easement and they wanted to encroach in it. So they owned the property, they just needed to encroach in our drainage easement. And the other was the school putting up private lighting in the utility easement. And so it was of same nature. This one's just of a different nature. And so with some of these clauses and conditions, I just wonder if we'd be better suited to contract it out rather than have it just be in this action. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Just to make
Just
sure
to have
both parties will be covered that way.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Right.
that way we know where the responsibility falls, and it's not going to be like, is it you, is it me, who does it?
right.
Well, this is how it's done, this is what we'll be doing moving forward. It's not a no, don't wanna do it, it's just, what if, and if that happens, how do we move forward
Sure.
on that?
So how do we go, or what would be like the next step for that then?
So I'll get that started. I'm taking some notes right now of some of the questions. And I'll reach out to the city attorney and have them draft something up.
Okay,
Um,
and yeah, I
so
know,
at pleasure of council, I guess, sorry, I shouldn't jump the gun on that, at pleasure of council.
Well-
We can take that as the next step.
This evening, just because, you know, I don't wanna leave this situation in limbo any further than it needs to be. Can we go ahead and approve the encroachment with contract pending
Yes,
on next, you know, have that contract, and then,
I would ask we put a date on that just to ensure that doesn't dangle for whatever reason. I can be just as
well, how quickly do you think we would be able to?
60 days, within 2 meetings, I would imagine we can turn that around.
So April 1st?
Yeah.
So we would
So,
just
so
continue.
do a temporary for now, and then we can
okay,
readdress.
And then if for
Yeah.
whatever wild circumstance we have to continue with the current arrangement of the encroachment without contract, we'll just do it.
We can extend it.
Yeah, we'll extend it at that meeting.
And I may reach out to the attorney, and they'll be like, yeah, no, that's necessary. It's, you know, they know more of the legalese than I do, in
Yeah,
which case we'll put it back on the agenda for the permanent.
okay.
As it sits right now, there's a dumpster there, right?
Yes, there is.
It's like,
So-
yeah,
That, you know, there's a dumpster sitting on it,
there's the dumpster, it's, yeah, it's a,
so, you know, it's,
And you could specify that, I would say specify that even as part of the temporary.
even with the
Permit.
snow, like you said, with putting snow in there. I mean, we gotta have somewhere to put it if we get big snowstorm and it shuts off your driveway, shuts off the driveway. You know, that's my looking at it, you know.
Yeah, and so I did talk to the property owner last year, and he was willing to push it to the back of the property. At that time, we didn't have the certificate of liability, and so I had concerns with him doing anything on city property, but because we have been added as that additional insured, that alleviates those concerns, so. Yes, given we are coming into the treacherous months.
I guess if I see it done, I wanna make sure there's nothing else. It's a driveway only, that's it, no,
Yeah.
no garbage on it, no tractors, no anything. It's driveway, that's it.
Any further discussion?
Writing or what?
What's that?
Cause I don't know if that has to be in writing or what.
Well, I'll solidify that. I think for now, I would seek a motion to approve a temporary encroachment permit for BNL Ag to be able to use the city right-of-way north of 212 South Main Avenue with the conditions that it would be used for access only, no storage, and city retains the right to, I wanna say dump's a terrible word, but to, for snow removal, to utilize the space, to utilize the property for snow removal if necessary.
so when they like put this, like, they won't like fill up the whole area though, they'll just push it, the snow like to the back. I mean, there would still be a space to get in,
So.
unless we got an
The
amazing
only
amount.
time we've ever had to use it,
Yeah.
in my knowledge, was when we got 3 feet in 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay, it
That
wasn't
was
quite that much,
crazy.
it felt like that much. In which case, I do know,
Pretty close,
anything beyond, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, because you were in the truck. But anything beyond about this point, they did have concerns about getting stuck in our trucks, just because the plows are front heavy. But again, now with the certificate of insurance, if that needed to get pushed back, if you had the equipment to do so, that snow, it just could not be moved off of the property, because last year it got piled on this corner and created a visibility issue.
Oh, right.
But it could be pushed to the back.
Okay. All right, no, that sounds good, yeah, And realistically, if we know snow's coming, like, we can make sure that we have everything, you know, that we don't need to be on there.
It's never gonna happen again.
I
It's
don't
just-
think we'll get
that's
that much
never
done.
gonna happen again. And
We have
so
assurance
the
of
more
that.
we plan for it, the
Yeah,
less
I'd like
it's gonna
assurance.
happen.
Yeah, but that sounds good with, you know, and we did put down some of the, you know, the gravel there, so, you know, I totally get the idea with the ruts and stuff, but we don't want that either, so that would be something that,
But it's just good to know whose responsibility,
Right,
you know,
who's-
outline whose responsibility
yeah,
it is.
nope.
Yep.
That sounds like a plan.
I need council motion yet, so any other discussion? Alright. Y'all want me to repeat it? Okay, I would seek a motion to approve a temporary encroachment permit for BNL Ag to utilize the city right-of-way just north of 212 South Main Avenue as a driveway access point for their property with the conditions that it will be used for access only, no storage, and city retains the right to utilize the property for snow removal if needed.
Why don't you add your May 30th ending date?
Oh, yes. Temporary with an expiration date of, do we say April 1st?
May 30th,
Yeah.
isn't that when the insurance expires?
Oh, no, we were gonna do April 1st for, and then talk about a contract,
When the insurance expires,
May 30th.
that's when it should stop.
Okay. May 30th. If you're the one making the motion, sir.
So moved.
Moved by Trum. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sukup. Sounds like a question. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Do we need a second action to authorize me to work with the attorney?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
I move the mayor contact our legal counsel and work on a contract to supersede this, encroachment permit, as needed.
Motion by Trum. Do I have a second? Second by Bosenberg. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, appointment of city clerk. So it is in our ordinance that the city clerk be appointed every 2 years. We've been doing it annually, just so we don't forget. So I would seek a motion to approve the appointment of Vicky Kula as city clerk for the city of Alburnett.
So moved.
Moved by Myers, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trum, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. Approval of fire chief. It is also in our ordinance that the council will approve the recommendation of fire chief as it results from their election. So I would seek a motion to approve TJ West as fire chief, or is that a 2-year term?
Yes.
For a 2-year term.
So,
Moved by Bosenberg, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sukup, any further discussion?
Well,
Oh.
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. And you
Yes.
abstain?
congratulations.
You think you're gonna show up?
All right, that motion carries. Item D, Resolution 01-2025-01, approving the tax increment financing indebtedness certification. So we were contacted by the county. We haven't done this in several years because we haven't collected any TIF through our property taxes, but we were still apparently supposed to be certifying that we haven't collected any TIF, and it does require a resolution. So on pages 25, 26, and 27, and 28, you will notice it is all zeros. So we have not collected any. We did turn this in, it was due by the end of the year. They did accept it, but did ask us for formality reasons to make sure we have the ordinance in place. So we did not collect any TIF money in fiscal year, this must be for,
There's no zeros on 25, right?
on page 25,
Yeah, there's no zeros.
right here. It shows we did not collect any TIF.
Oh,
I don't know if this is for a particular fiscal year.
Says 26.
Oh, thank you, for fiscal year 26.
It's on the third to last page of the form.
Did you see that? It's quite the form for $0. So formality, really, if you have questions, I would say ask Vicki, because no one understands TIF. Otherwise, I would seek a motion to approve resolution, oh, I can read it. Resolution 01-2025-01, whereas the city of Alburnett is required to prepare and submit a TIF certification to the county auditor. Now therefore be resolved that the city council of the city of Alburnett, Iowa as follows. Section 1, the city has reviewed this document. Section 2, the city clerk is directed to submit this certification to the Lynn County auditor before the deadline of December 1st, 2024. Be it further resolved by the city council of the city of Alburnett, Iowa, that the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute said resolution. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 01-2025-01?
Move.
Moved by West. Do I have a second? Second by Trum. This will be roll call since it is tax stuff. Counselor Trum?
Aye.
Counselor Bozenberg?
Aye.
Counselor Sukup?
Aye.
Counselor West?
Aye.
Counselor Myers?
Aye.
That motion carries. Page 29, Resolution 01-2025-02, setting the official publication as the Gazette. So this is something we do annually. We are required to, as a city, to, by resolution, select an official publication. It has to be regularly circulated in town, and we've been using the Gazette. I really like the fact that it's a daily publication. Gives us a lot of flexibility, especially around budget season with all of our public hearings and such. So the recommendation is that we continue utilizing the Gazette. Any questions? If not, I will read the resolution. Alright, Resolution 01-2025-02, whereas the city of Alburnett is required to name an official publication for the purposes of publication of official notices and other required publications, and whereas such publications shall be available to the general public and have regular circulation in the city of Alburnett, and whereas history of usage and general public expectations support the appointment of the Gazette as the city's official publication, now therefore be resolved that the city council of the city of Alburnett, Iowa approves to name the official publication as the Gazette. I would seek a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I got Bozenberg with the motion.
Resolution 01-2025-02.
Motion by Bozenberg, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sukup. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Alright. Item F, Resolution 01-2025-03, setting the official depository as Farmer State Bank. So similarly, we refresh this annually, including looking at our maximum deposit. I'm going to go ahead and read this one. Resolution 01-2025-03, whereas the city of Alburnett is required to approve a financial institution as a depository of public funds for a public body by written resolution, and that shall distinctly name each depository approved and specify the maximum amount that may be kept on deposit in each depository. And whereas the city clerk and/or treasurer is hereby authorized to deposit the city of Alburnett funds in amounts to not exceed the maximum approved for each respective financial institution as set below. Now therefore it be resolved by the city council of the city of Alburnett, Iowa approves the following list of financial institutions to be depositories of the city of Alburnett, Iowa funds in conformance with all applicable provisions of the Iowa Code and investment policy of the city of Alburnett, Farmer State Bank, in the amount of $2,250,000. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Myers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by West. Any further discussion? This will also be a roll call. Counselor Myers?
Aye.
Counselor West?
Aye.
Counselor Sukup?
Aye.
Counselor Bozenberg?
Aye.
Counselor Trump?
Aye.
Motion carries. Alright, page 31. Set day for the FY '26 property tax levy public hearing. So you do have the budget timeline. You'll see our two budget workshops that we talked about earlier. Looks like if needed, we could do something in February. We have to get the information to the Lynn County Auditor so that they can send out the tax documents, the tax notifications. We won't have any budget-related anything at our March meeting, and then I believe March 31st is the soonest, based on when those mailings are going out, that we can have the public hearing. So this is a pretty tight timeline, doesn't give us a lot of wiggle, and actually March 31st. I didn't look at this, sorry, Ellen.
It might just be up to
No, she's got, yeah, March 5th to get our information to the county. Yeah. I don't know if that's, we may have to call a special, I'll work this out with Vicki. We might have to call a special for the public hearing for the budget, because I don't think April 10th gives us enough time in between. Because it's gotta be 10 days. 10 to 20 days. 31st is 10, but it won't be published on that day, so I'll work that out with Vicki. I think March 31st is the earliest we can have the property tax public hearing. So, do I have a motion to approve the public hearing date for the FY '26 property tax levy for March 31st, 2025 at 6 p.m.?
So
Moved by Sukup. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trum. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion carries. All right, we're almost there. Discussion and possible action on technology update for meeting recordings.
So in your packet, I put together some information on a device that would decrease the time that it takes to use that camera, get the video from the SD card, download it, trim it so that we don't have someone's face in the beginning of the video when it starts, and then get that uploaded to YouTube and then to type up the minutes. There is a device called the Owl that is a multi-directional conference recording device. There are a couple others that I listed as comparable devices that essentially do the same thing and are around the same price. But what I like about the Owl is it will focus on the person that's speaking. So it's 360 and it will sit like right in front of the mayor. And its cameras will pick up all of the council members and members of the public, and it will focus the camera on the person. Either the Logitech or the Panasonic just puts a highlight around the person who's talking instead of focusing your screen on that. So we'll have available to the public the entire meeting, all of the attendees. It will pick up all of the audio, and we can automate the minutes so that I don't have to. Right now, it's taken me a real long time to type up those minutes since I'm new at it. But we figured that it would save roughly $2,600 over a year's time of going from 5 hours to process the video and the minutes to less than an hour. And increasing operational efficiencies after the initial investment of, what was it, $1,049?
Correct. The other benefit with the change to Iowa code in offering virtual meeting for members, I know Councilor Rosenberg joined once and he couldn't hear because the microphone was facing me, so anytime I had to turn my computer on, this will capture a 360 sound. So it'll also benefit if we ever have virtual meetings or any councilors joining virtually, the experience will be far more enhanced. So what this saves is we'll no longer have the camera up there. It will plug into my computer, launch the meeting from here, and then we'll record directly to the computer, whether someone's joined virtually or not. And that way we don't have to monkey up there and turn it on and off and take it out and download it. And then the automation Rebecca was speaking of, we tested. It's actually pretty stinking cool. So using tools we already have, we have Microsoft Suite. There's a tool called Microsoft Stream. It's a lot like a YouTube. When you load a video in, which the OWL would do automatically, it transcribes it, and we can take that transcription and put it in an AI tool, and it can write the minutes for us. And I already showed her you can train AI, so we'll be training an AI bot to write the minutes for us.
I still need my job though, don't.
There will be,
Don't-
There are plenty of other things.
there are other things. It still required a person to validate, but it definitely, like she said, it cuts it down substantially.
So you had a chance to see this action here you've actually used this thing.
I've not actually used it out, the school has one, so I saw it at
But you're
their,
familiar with this and
Yes.
and it works well.
yes,
It
I
is
saw it
a-
at their board meeting and I was like, we got to have that, so.
Okay.
It's essentially a plug and play, and that's the other thing that I liked about this one is that
Make sure you
Um,
change that.
I'm not our in-house tech specialist, and Bethany isn't always here to say, did you reboot it? So this one is just really easy, and I feel like it would not outsmart me. Maybe. So,
Okay. Sounds like there are all kinds of benefits for it.
Yeah, and it plays well with Microsoft Teams, which is, again, we have Microsoft licenses through all of our email client and everything else, so it's compatible with everything we've got in-house already.
It's kinda like the doctor's office, they just talk to the computer and it writes their notes out.
exactly.
They don't have to sit there and write anything down.
This is even easier because it takes what we say live and does it like, she doesn't even have to repeat what we said. It was pretty cool.
I'm on the website right now, looking at it, that was the
Hence the
happy
music.
music.
So technically with our current purchasing and procurement policy, this does fall under the threshold. But I did want to put it on the agenda to make council aware that my 90-day goals and benchmarks are at the forefront of my mind, and I'm actively working on making progress on that list and sharing it with you guys.
And there was no urgency, so it's like, well, we can put it on an agenda if there's no urgency. Similarly, if you wanna look into them and get comfortable, but like I said, I know the school uses them both in the classroom when they had the virtual learning, as well as they use them for their board meetings. Any other questions? And it looks like an owl, so it's,
It's cute.
So we're just gonna hum and haw about this for a while, or we're gonna take some action on it?
I'd be ready, I'd seek a motion to approve the purchase of one OWL video recording device $1,049. Motion by Trum, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by, I missed it, Myers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Item I, sorry to make you wait, Eric. I do apologize about
You're
that.
fine, I'm on days this week, so I'll get some sleep tonight.
Discussion and possible action regarding renewal of sheep grazing agreement. So thankfully Eric tapped Mac the other day and asked where we were on this because the months get away from me. So as a reminder, you do have the current agreement in your packet as starting on page 34. So the way that this one is written, I won't read the whole thing, but on page 35, notice of termination. This was a one-year lease, and we did not put an auto renewal in here because I know we were trying some of the new clauses and things, some of the issues that we had addressed about this time last year, and just tried to open up that line of communication. And so, without doing anything, this lease does terminate. And actually, I don't think we would renew it, we would just basically put a new agreement in place. So I just want to be really clear about where we stand with the current agreement. I do know, Eric, that we did get at least one notification from the DNR when the grass was long. So that wasn't super great. They came out and did a surprise inspection, and then I don't know if anything, we found documentation about the ruts that are along, and I don't know if any of those got repaired. We didn't necessarily get anything refreshed on that this year, but I don't know if those got resolved. So, how did it go? I know you hauled water and some other things out there this year.
Yeah, that was fine. The grass, I didn't know what the height length was that they wanted. Matt called me and said that the DNR and I met with Shoop Kenny out there also, and they said, yeah, it was getting too tall where we want. So then we just got an agreement with Mac, hey, if it's getting too long, let me know, I'll come out and mow it. So it's kinda, whatever you guys say needs to be done, then we'll pull in and mow it, take care of it that way.
And Mac, now that you're a little closer to, not necessarily chores, you were doing the chores before, but like the DNR's take, they don't take a hard stance one way or the other, but they don't love sheep, right?
They can't say you can't have them in there, but they don't like them. They don't like the ruts that they cause and the foot traffic, because they worry about erosion of the berms and stuff like that. Because I mean, they're animals, they take the path of least resistance every time.
Has that caused problems in the past?
We've had non-compliance letters before because of it.
So is that because we've got ruts, we need to smooth them out or fill them in, or how's that work?
They want to prevent
Just
repair them or prevent them from happening.
Okay.
I did notice in the contract or whatever, like, there's something about shade for the animals, there's none out there.
No, we took 2 wagons out to the back.
You took 2 wagons out the back, oh,
Yep.
okay, I didn't.
And then there is the tree on the south, on the north side that's still in
Down the
between,
Gully there.
yeah, between 1 and 2, down in there.
I hope the wagons were smart, because we talked about a tent, and then you brought in gravity
Yeah.
wagons. I do know Mac will be pursuing some licensing and testing this year, and I would just hate for his brand new license to get any kind of non-compliance. So it does make me nervous that the city holds a lot of risk in having the sheep in there.
And you gave mention to this in your report, right? So it says in here that if the agreement was not renewed, mower, we would need to purchase a mower.
Yeah, because the berms are just too steep for our mower to handle it safely without risk sliding down the embankments. They're just, the berms aren't meant for that kind of terrain.
What kind of equipment would you need to get?
I've run, there's still zero turn mowers, but they're built for that kind of hills. They have, the one model I ran had dual back wheels and weighted front rims to keep it stable on that kind of terrain. And I mean, I've run those before and they worked very well. And then you can still use them anywhere, they're just typical mower, 6-foot deck. But
You said, how many mowers do we have?
just,
This is Skag. How many years have we had that?
we have a Hustler, it's pretty new.
Okay. Just what?
It's pretty new, it's only got a couple hundred hours on it.
Okay.
Let's say maybe a second mower would be nice to have if we do have some sort of part-time need in the summer to keep up with maintenance or anything like that. Just not a fan of putting ourselves in the DNR's crosshairs. As much as I would love to keep the sheep.
And I understand where you guys are coming from. I mean, I thought we were doing a pretty good job of just communicating last year with it, you know? And then if something happened, then we were covering it, but, so we weren't in their crosshairs, but if we need to do more, then, yeah, look, what do we gotta do, I guess, so.
So I would recommend, we do have until end of February, so we can get this back on the February agenda. That we get some pricing on what a mower would look like. Maybe what maintenance would need to happen out there. If we did need to get it tidied up from any ruts or anything like that.
If I do remember right, some of those ruts were going clear back too, because nobody had taken care of them from earlier, so.
Right. Yeah, he said he found a letter from 2019.
The ruts are we had the mowing, I mean, on a fairly regular basis. I just don't know how you prevent the sheep from making ruts without isolating them, and then they're gonna beat down that area, and if you move them to the next area, they'll just keep beating. Like, I don't know how you stop them from causing
Are they
damage
only
that
worried
way.
about the berms, or is it, cause like the flat part, they're not worried about, right? Like the overflow area, if that were to have ruts?
I know that one year there was ruts back in the very back corner. And, you know, when it was full, it washed over and it didn't do very well on that very back side.
Oh,
The
even
guy
out,
had to fill them in, they tried it.
okay, so have the map up.
I'm not sure
Hang on,
about
let me scroll.
the low lying, like near the fence lines, but I know the tops of the dikes and the berms themselves,
Yeah.
they don't
Almost there.
want any.
Zoom out, whoa, really far. Yeah, I was so close.
Back in this corner back here. Back right in here.
Yeah, sorry,
It's really bad back in here.
that's a touch screen, he went to touch screen me. I guess I was looking more, oh, I see. Cause this is where, you had the gravity wagons back here, right?
No, down the other corner,
Down in the
Let's do this.
corner,
Here?
right there, yep,
oh, down in that corner.
yeah. And the wash, I think you're talking about, Dave, was about in the center,
About in the center.
and that was from the lagoon over washing the dam in the back. That
When
wasn't,
you-
it wasn't a sheep deal, that was the water overflowing.
Yeah.
It was too low.
Too high.
What's that?
Was a dip in you had to build up.
Yeah.
It was from running back.
Yeah, I'd say, that wasn't a sheep deal, that was the
Oh,
water
I thought it was a
overflowing.
sheep.
That was the water overflowing.
No.
Okay.
But I know they get in these gravel ways, right, Mac, that's where they're,
favor of waiting for tabling this for a month and get some more information on the cost of the mowers and see have a better idea what some alternatives would be.
Eric I admitted this last time, so I'm just gonna stay on the record that I don't understand sheep as well as you do. Is there anything?
I'm not sure I understand sheep either. I don't think anybody understands sheep, you can ask them.
This is probably, you're gonna laugh at this question, but is there anything like, I don't even need to ask it, like a scarecrow or anything is there anything that they're innately scared of? Like with geese, you know, they put out the little coyote figurines, like, is there anything there innately that would help deter them going in certain areas, short of putting up fencing, because I don't think we want fencing up either.
No, for the most part, like from when I drive by, because I don't go check them every day out there. I drive by a check, because if I pull in there, then they want to come up to the corral. But for the most part, I either see them starting on the south side and working their way around to the west edge. I should say the north side and work around to the west edge, and then they go back out and they go clear to the east end, and they hang out mainly out there in the east end, which is, yeah, right there. That's where they like to hang out the most.
But you're out there regularly, and so, I mean, same concept, when the truck pulls up.
Yeah, they come
Come up
on
and-
usually.
Probably crying to you, right? Daddy's here.
Would more strategic
Look, kids,
placement,
look what I brought home.
That's why the grass is so lush that we don't feed unless we're getting ready to breed or anything, or remove some, then we feed a little bit to get them to come into the corral and then load them up and haul them out. For the most part, unless it's getting down there with quality of grass, we try not to take grain out to them unless somebody's injured or sick or any of that for husbandry wise.
And it's my understanding when we got the letter of nonconformance this summer, they're talking turf level, right? So is that even conducive for feeding?
She told me it's 6 inches or less they want. That's why ideally they want to see the grass up, because then it deters animals from burrowing into the banks, and then you can see if they do, so you can fill them quickly.
Alright, sorry, I didn't know if there was any natural deterrent that, short of getting Mac an air horn every time he goes out there.
People showing up probably. Oh no.
They like people.
Alright,
His dog. Sheepdog.
Then you can leave the gate open. Then you can leave the gate open. You wouldn't have to close it.
there you
Yeah.
go.
I have goats, but they won't.
Robert's
care.
rules tells me, do I need a motion for you to table it, or,
I'd move we table it for next month.
motion by Trum to table until the February meeting. Do I have a second? Second by Bozenberg. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. That motion carries. We'll keep you posted. Sorry for the short notice on this one, but thank you for saying
No,
something.
that's fine. Do you know the date of the next meeting?
I do, I can pull that up. Second Thursday is where we always are. I think it's like the 13th.
it is.
Look at me.
13th, okay.
Yes, 13th, 7 p.m.
Okay.
I'll put it higher on the agenda this time.
That's just a mental note, because my days don't run together very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Alright, that is the end of your packet, but it leaves us with old business, which is the park project update. So as Rebecca mentioned during her report, we did meet with HR Green yesterday. It was a really good conversation, just kind of kicking off the project. They did give us a timeline. I did not make fun of them for the fact that one of their dates was February 31st. Yeah, I didn't say a word, I bit my tongue. Maybe they planted it and was really hoping I'd say
They're testing
something.
you.
Yeah.
You failed.
I'm public record now. So provided a timeline, I actually do not have it open, but I can. Essentially, they're hoping we're out for bid by April, which has a project start of around May, and that's a pretty elevated timeline. They've got some site survey work they want to do
I actually
this
saw
month.
someone out there today.
Nice, well,
When I
that-
left.
or was that the,
He had his little tripod and
okay,
it wasn't over by the
generator.
pump house.
So they're doing some site survey work, and then they're gonna go back. We did spend most of our time kind of walking through the design, because their original, what they provided us and where our budget is at are very far apart. And so, just going through, like, what can we trim, what do we have to have, where can we make concessions? Great example, they had quite a bit of landscaping. Cover your ears, Grant, really sorry. But I was like, A, that can be done later, B, there are a lot of grants out there for trees and those types of things, and that's a place where we can get volunteer help to drill holes and plant trees. And so, making some smart decisions, they call it value engineering. So they're gonna go use the site survey information plus some of the things we talked about and come back to us with some options. There were a few things I did ask them, I did also ask them to add something, but I was like, put it on the side, like, as an option, if we put this in, how much would it cost? So they're gonna try and itemize out as much as they can, and then we'll bring that to council, to take a look-see at it, so. I do know TJ was part of the initial park project committee, as the city council representative, so as I start getting information, I'll probably loop you in first, just cause you've kind of been involved from the beginning, and you can be our sounding board as well, if you're good with that.
Yep.
So, awesome. Anything I missed? So I think they were looking for approval at the March meeting,
So they can put it up for bid.
so they can put it out for bid. Maybe it's escalated, it's a pretty quick timeline, so we'll make sure we stay on it.
We're gonna get to look at that before,
Yes,
okay.
Yep. yep, absolutely.
I was really impressed with not only the conversation that we had, we spent over an hour really going through each, feature of the park, and we talked through, priority on that. And then I was also really impressed with Caleb Jansen. He was here at the December meeting. He followed up in short order with a really good summary of our whole conversation. They seem very organized, very on the ball, so I'm excited to work with them.
Yeah, and I will make sure to have, I do apologize, we probably should have put their agenda stuff in the packet. I'll have it available for the budget workshop next week, because we may need to, the good news is, we're gonna be close enough to the FY26 budget that if we, as a council, are interested in increasing that budget, we'll have an opportunity to look and see if there's anything available in FY26 to be able to do that. I'm not saying we increase the investment, but if you wanted to. So we'll bring what they've provided, and then we can look at if we want to add anything else to that bottom to make more happen. If at all possible, I don't know, because I think for the majority of what we have right now, we used lost funding, so. All right, any questions on the park project? Moving along. All right, hearing none, I'll go with final comments. Counselor Myers.
I like the new resolution numbering system, so we don't have to look back at the previous month's minutes to figure out what resolution are we on this year.
Picked up on that, did you? Yeah, I missed one month and we doubled up, and thankfully it was one I don't think we approved, but yes. Vicky was all over it. Counselor West? Sorry, Chris, anything else? I interrupted.
No.
Counselor West?
Nothing,
Counselor Suter?
nothing at this time.
Counselor Rosenberg? Counselor Trone? Rebecca, anything to add?
No.
Mac? Fire department friends?
Thank you for approving our chief. Are we good with our
I
officer
guess.
corps?
What's that?
We have our officer corps established?
That's all you guys, we have nothing to do with that, so I'm excited.
Well, you gotta approve the approver.
You know what, you're not wrong.
Yeah, if we don't have him, I'm not here.
I hope to get back to y'all's meeting soon.
I do have a question, what's this about? Is that it?
Oh, that was unsolicited,
Okay.
so, sorry, yeah.
I didn't know if everybody had a copy of that, or just.
No, I think Vicky just set it on the edge of the table to see if we, LO Pelling basically sent us just a, hey, we'll lock you in at this number, but we don't have any, we need to follow our bidding process, and so, while I appreciate their, proactiveness, there's nothing we're doing with that today, so I think that was her, didn't wanna forget about it pile, and it's
Okay.
right in front of your seat, so.
Thank you, TJ, for taking that over, volunteer.
Do we have to change his little,
He gets two now, they stack it.
turn it back around?
Add a second layer.
Yeah.
No, we kind of promised him that he could be counsel when he's here and we'd play fire for him, so he wouldn't be in contrast all the time. Didn't want him to be in a
You got a good
conflict.
team. You got a good team.
I like to think so.
All right.
We try.
I think that's the end of our agenda. Confirm the date and time of our next meeting. It is January 14th, 2025 at 6 PM for our budget workshop. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Myers. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by West. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 8:21 PM.